everyone, and welcome to Stoke the Fire. This is a weekly program that Pamela Cuccinell and myself, Susie Mazzoli, do. We actually have a website which is called stokethefire.guru, where you can register and sign up and receive this recording in its entirety with just the essential information weekly. And that is sent to your letterbox, and you won't have all the rest of this blah, blah, blah that we do here on YouTube. But for all of our friends here on YouTube, it's lovely to see you again. If you're new to our program, what we do is we basically introduce ourselves and what we do, and then Pamela gives a wonderful 20-minute really practical forecast for the week ahead, so from Monday through to the next Monday, and it gives us a lot of information on what to look out for, what type of energies are going to be in the air, and what are some of the things that we can really use, whether it's a great day to start something or whether it's a great day not to start something, but all of this type of information that can be really useful when you're planning your week ahead. And if, of course, you are planning something that you would like to do in the near future. So if you have a big event coming up, like a wedding or a move, or you're planning to look at something new in your life or changing something in your life, I highly recommend that you make an appointment with Pam. I plan a lot of my big events, like when I'm taking people on retreats overseas, when I'm organising big conferences, all that sort of, when you really want to have a great outcome type of dates. Generally, I also have been working with Pam for some 19 years now, personally, and just so I know what's coming up for me in the week ahead, in the month ahead, in the year ahead, so I can also make adjustments according to really utilising the energies that appear in my natal chart, so I can grow spiritually, but also grow in my life. How can I bring prosperity to my family, to my friends? How can I share my skills? Things like that. I myself work as an energetic healer. I'm also a professional homeopath, and my website is susiemazzoli-healer.com, and there you can find information on how to work with me. I work remotely and I work in person in New York City and in Woodstock, New York. And if you're interested to become an energy healer, I have a course. It's a 1-year course. And after students have done the 1-year course, we also have an advanced course as well. And the website is energyhealingschoolny.com. And over the years, I've trained hundreds of people. It's an amazing, amazing group of people that always come together every year. This year we actually are full, but we have a course starting again in January next year in New York City. And those courses are also available for webinar students internationally. So if you'd like to study with us, then you can join us from anywhere in the world. So let's introduce Pam and get the astrology for the week rolling. And I invite you, I don't know about you guys, but every week I take out my trusty little date calendar and I write down what's going on and what to work with and how to be prepared. And I invite you to do the same. And everybody, here is my dear friend and colleague, Pamela Cuccinell.
Okay, well, Susie's been very kind today because she's talked at length about what I do on top of what she does, because I'm recuperating from a cold, and actually I'm doing pretty well now, but we aren't NyQuil girls. We kind of do, well, we do homeopathy, sleep, good food, and so the cold got out of my system pretty quickly. But even so, when you're sick, you have to go through the process, because your body actually is, when it's sick, or what we call sick, it's going through all kinds of things to help detoxify, cleanse, etc. And I will say this, that even as a Reiki master, when I took Susie's energetic healing course, it was really lovely to do a immersion into deepening into something I knew, but also what Susie brings is all her rich knowledge of the world travels she's done, and her work as a homeopath and her work as a healer. So even if you've been doing work, and it doesn't matter if you're professional at it or not, I mean, the more of us who tap into our innate ability to heal energetically, and every human being has it, the better the planet. So, so anyway, it's really something to consider. And I think you do a telecommute version, right, Susie? Or is it just in person?
Which I mentioned that we actually have a webcast as well. So you can study from anywhere in the world, and you receive the webcast. And then I also do tutorials with all the students during the month. And the class is 1 day a month. And then you work with the integrations and the information during the month, and then we meet. So it's basically 12 classes, very intense classes, I have to say.
Right. And you really have time to process and get infused with that energy in the, quote, weeks off that aren't, that basically are really allow it to integrate and fill. So
it needs to integrate, absolutely, because you're receiving attunements each month.
Right, right.
Today, I'm looking at my book. I really can't believe it, of course, that here we are already, October the 23rd, 2017, planet Earth.
Right, right. And the sun
New York State right now
has gone into Scorpio. For those of you who get the recording on Sunday, the sun enters the sign of Scorpio at 1:27 a.m. And when I do times, it's all Eastern time. So please adjust depending on where you are in the world. And when the sun is in the 30-day cycle of the sign of Scorpio, we really are in a period where a lot is about shining in our revelations and reflections. So if this is a comfortable area for you, if you're someone who does a lot of self-reflection or is a private person who does a lot of internal work, who loves to unravel secrets, you're going to be in your element over the next few weeks. But that's just the sun sign expression. So it's things that we're going to see and have revealed on the media. And the other thing that's going on is Jupiter entered Scorpio about 12 days ago. So when the sun is in Scorpio, it just kind of brings more light to that area. And with Jupiter in Scorpio, you can go to my website, insightoasis.com, where I talk more about it. But basically the next year and change is going to be a lot about finding our wealth in the dark. So basically with the sun in Scorpio today on the 23rd, as this is being broadcast on YouTube, we are going to be invited into getting into deeper dialogue. That might be deeper dialogue with your accountant, financial planner, how you do your money, always with couples. People feel the biggest intimacy is their sexual expression. It's actually their ability to talk and merge resources in a very intimate, open way. Money is the most taboo subject. I can't speak really about other countries, but I believe that's true. It's certainly true in the United States. And I believe that's true many places. Money is power, money is dominion. And there's an importance in keeping a separation with what happens with money. But in true intimacy, it's where do you put your values? Are your values in alignment? Do you share and merge and integrate in holistic ways with a partner? And if your partner, whether it's a business partner or, as I said earlier, an accountant or someone who you're working with to get advice, information, or hone what goes on with your finances or your intimate life in general, where you feel safe in your world. If you're not feeling safe in some reason, for some reason in a certain partnership, it's time to rethink partnerships. And this theme will be going on for the next month or so, and has been actually a very dominant piece over the past year as Jupiter was in Libra, and we saw a lot of polarization. It's us against them. I believe in this, you believe in that. We are separate. Now with Jupiter in Scorpio, there's a lot of how do we see where we can dance and come to terms with something that actually is for survival, because Scorpio is about survival. So, okay, he believes this and she believes that, or I believe this and you believe that. And okay, so you're drawing your line in the sand, but if it's not going to help you sustain and survive, how can you figure out ways to mitigate, understand, and bridge so that you're actually stronger than weaker? Separation makes us weaker. We think it might make us stronger, but it doesn't. So, profound times that we live in. So today, actually, on the 23rd, is a really wonderful day to work on what helps you express your individuality and celebrate the individuality of another. How do you take in ideas, inspiration that maybe are a little out of your comfort zone, and you push through that discomfort zone to get to a place where it's like, huh, I never really thought of it this way before. Might be something you've seen a gazillion times, but it never really clicked in where you thought, that is integral or important to me. That is something that I need to pay attention to. And the nice thing about today, the 23rd through tomorrow morning, is we have the opportunity to really be inspired in ways that we hadn't really considered. But the only way that we truly become open to that opportunity is if we allow ourselves a, let me think of the right word, sorry, that's the getting over the cold brain, where we allow ourselves true connection to what makes us strong. So here's the thing. We live in a very, at least here in the United States where I'm speaking, the illusion is that everything is the material. How much money you get, what your job is, what your house is, the car you drive. The illusion is the material. And yet what really is of value when we're just sort of distilled down to what's going on in our body and in with our emotional, spiritual connections, which people come to terms with sometimes through a difficulty, a profound illness, profound loss. Then they come to terms with, wait a minute, I thought my life was all about all this stuff, but it's really all about my health, the people I care about, and what are my connections to the world. So a great way to start Monday morning, and actually the whole week, is to tap in to where is your spiritual discomfort. And when I say that, one of the things that I learned a while ago through one of my studies is that the human condition is naturally restless and a bit addictive. We're not really this sort of calm, easy space. We almost invite in and create this monkey mind, chaos, distraction thing. And now here we are in our high-tech 24/7 world, and the distractions are endless. Distractions, rather, are endless. So begin the morning with a sort of sense of, where is my discomfort in the silence? If you have any. You may not have any discomfort in the silence, but if you get into the comfort and discomfort of the silence, invite in whatever may come in over the next 24 hours, because things can come in that absolutely shake up your world in a good way. So they upset the status quo. It's like, that isn't what I expected. That's a little out of my comfort zone, or a lot out of my comfort zone. But wow, I never would have done that if I didn't leave myself open to that potential and opportunity. So that's the kind of thing that is fermenting out there over the next 24 hours or so, beginning on 36 hours on the 23rd. When we get to, the moon, I didn't even mention this, sorry. The the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So fast moving messages, lots of information coming in and through. And the mix of the sun in Scorpio with the Sag moon is always, whenever Sag and Scorpio are together and the signs are right next to one another in the zodiac, and the ones that are right next to one another in the zodiac are often the most disparate. So, right, train of thought. So Scorpio and Sagittarius, when they're together, there's this kind of poison arrow energy, because Scorpio has the sting and also will create transformation that doesn't necessarily feel comfortable. And Sag will go right to the mark, not even considering, was that the most tactful thing to say? So sometimes the message may be delivered in a way that you naturally put your guard up, or you don't let it in. But if you come into a place of allowing and just say, well, you know, sometimes the piercing or the information is what allows the toxins to get out of the wound. So, and we're seeing that all the time in our society now, the things people are saying, the things that people are confronting, the things they're bringing to the table, a lot of disruptions with people's comfort zone, but this is actually letting us know how people really think and feel. And when you don't really know that, it's hard to change it. But when it's right on the table, well, it's the opportunity for conversation and for really just erupting or exploding what was thought to be the way things should be or are, and turn it in a different direction. So very dynamic day for starting something you want to get off the ground, having meetings with people who are going to help move you in directions that might be faster than your comfort zone, but really take you a place where you want to go. This carries through until 12:44 p.m. on Tuesday, when the moon goes void of course. Once the moon is void of course, then we're in a period where the moon, which represents how we're kind of feeling about things and the emotional weather. So we're all individually affected by this based on our natural lunar sign, so the sign the moon is naturally in. So depending on your makeup, moon void of course in certain signs is comfortable or not comfortable. When it's void of course in Sagittarius, great to be outside. Outside, studying something that is like, ooh, opening your mind in different directions, being an armchair tourist, or actually out in the world touring or learning something you hadn't learned before. The thing about the void of course period is don't expect anything concrete to happen. You can have some conversations that just seem like, wow, what a great opportunity. Yes, let's do this. And then it never gets off the ground. Or if it does, it looks very different than what you originally conceptualized. So that's why astrologers usually say it's not a good time to initiate a conversation of something you really care about or want to make happen, do a cold call or any kind of conversation where you're hoping to make something happen, because things happen, but they don't necessarily go anywhere concrete. So the moon enters Capricorn at 8:12 p.m. And once that occurs, right, okay. And once that occurs, we're in a period that is really rather rocky. I mean, Capricorn is the symbol of the goat going up the hill. And with the moon in the sign of Capricorn right now at this point in time, Saturn is at the tail end of Sagittarius. Saturn is the planet linked to the sign of Capricorn. So it's almost like, where are we landing and why? Because Saturn wants to establish boundaries. It wants to create something solid. It wants to frame things. It wants to limit things. And basically when it's flying out there, kind of void of course itself because it's not making any configurations with other planets, then there's nothing to tether. There's nothing to bring that ambition down. So the moon in the sign of Capricorn right now is particularly challenging. And this is, you may not notice this right away. I mean, today may feel a little bumpy at certain points in the evening. Tempers may be short, frustration may be high. But tomorrow, I mean tomorrow, rather the 25th, when I'm looking at Wednesday, and it's not tomorrow when I'm recording this, but on the 25th, Wednesday, the moon is in the sign of Capricorn, and it makes really nice pictures in the sky. So you can feel highly productive and as though things are really getting done. Things are booking along, you're making your deadlines, you're crossing things off your list. It's looking really good. And what might happen as time goes on, depending on how long range those things are, something can disrupt the apple cart. So Wednesday is a really great day for short-term chores. Things like, gotta get this done, gotta get that done. It's not really going anywhere, but I wanna cross it off my list. Get my bookkeeping in order, all is good. 26th, Thursday, has a configuration in the sky which we astrologers consider one of the most auspicious configurations of the year. And that's when Sun lines up with the planet Jupiter. It's in the sign of Scorpio. So it's auspicious when you're willing to make the transformation and go deep. It could be very good financially. I mean, so much of this depends on your personal horoscope. But in general, just as a general weather thing, reach out, connect, look for opportunities with people you've been wanting to talk to, have connections with, being aware that even though the sun is in picture with Jupiter, we've got this disruption outcome that may occur with anything long term. So it's good for like, quick, yeah, let's do this. This is great. Let's hike in the woods. Let's play today. Let's expand our mind. Go to a museum, and something can come in that's totally unexpected or thought of. Your money may go when you're looking at whatever investment thing is. You know, this is very nice when it does this. Just keep in mind it could do that. So if it's a long-term thing, again, if you've already invested in it, it may do this and then it does this, but in time it will do that. But I wouldn't suggest investing a bunch of stuff on the 26th. It's more be open to receive. Whatever the receiving is, that's a good thing to do. And the receiving that works best are things you're willing to commit to, follow through on, and that you're receiving based on kudos to you for your integrity or some work you've already done. It's not usually pie out of the sky winner stuff with this. It might be, but it's more based on work you've already done. People who are in any kind of transition, this can be a banner day for them as well. So this can be, oh, I was able to achieve that or make that happen. But again, it's something you've been working on a long time. It's nothing you started on this day on October 26th. So on the 27th, we move out of this kind of rocky period of the moon in Capricorn. It goes void, of course, at 1:22 a.m., just after midnight. And it enters the sign of Aquarius at 8:59 a.m. Now, once that happens, we move into a weekend that's very dynamic for connections, for networking, for hopes and wishes, for really going for like the big vision, whatever that looks like to you, whatever that means to you. Fabulous time to be with young people, as I said already, to network. Can be a little bumpy late afternoon, evening with some headbutting things where people don't necessarily agree on everything. The evening, for those of you who are interested in any kind of dynamic that has to do with romantic or sexual, can be a little intense. So with a partner, it can be very juicy depending on your actual relationship. It can also be weirdly like, why am I feeling this intense draw for something that's not necessarily what I usually feel a draw for? Can be fun depending on what it is. I always will say to people that the caveat here is if it's anything that has to do with triangulating a situation, make sure that you're invested in wherever that's going to go, because it can be just a passing transit, or it can be something that really just drags you somewhere you really don't want to go. Great evening if you want to go into really intense, passionate, deep conversations. If that's not your game, watch a movie or do something that just pulls you away from having that sort of enticement or compulsion that isn't where you want to go. The 28th, tremendous day for networking, getting things done, dynamic energy, and the 29th as well. So the moon goes void, of course, 12:22 p.m. on the 29th, and it's void until 7:46 p.m. in the evening when it goes in the sign of Pisces. So get the things you want to get done before just afternoon on Sunday. Then use Sunday for just enjoying the people you love to be around, community, all those kind of groups. And in the evening, as we get towards 7:46, when the moon goes in the sign of Pisces, fabulous evening for cultural things, music, movies, ways that you escape into meditation, creative things. Once again, I wouldn't begin anything in the evening unless it was something you were ready to really dig your heels into and make the commitment to, no matter how challenging it became. So now I'll turn it over to Susie.
Okay, everyone, so let's jump straight into the meditation. I invite you to close your eyes, to take a few moments just to settle. Dear loved ones, we are the master teachers, and let us use a line. Let us use the line of deepening into the darkness, and understand for yourself what this word darkness means. So as you deepen into darkness, deepen into pain, deepen into hardship perhaps, deepen into difficulty, deepen into challenges, let us shift the perspective and let us shift the understanding. Imagine for a moment, if you will, dear loved ones, that everything in this lifetime, everything that you experience, everything that happens to you, everything that you think is happening to you because of the outside world, everything that is happening to you because of your thoughts in the inside world, just understand, just for a moment, that all of this is happening because you are the designer, because you are the creator, because you are the instigator, because you are the one that is bringing all of this into being. That you are the creator of your reality, even if it seems like there is a gigantic population of people bringing something to you that you are then involved with, and you think it's coming from the outside. Just for a moment, see yourself as the creator of that enormous crowd, of that enormous organization, of that enormous population that is bringing to you something that you feel you must do, that you are obliged to do, perhaps even legally. But imagine that you are the creator of all of this, that whatever it is that you wish to experience in life, you are creating. So take, for example, that you are this blob. You are this blob of plasma. You are this blob of energy. You are this entity of consciousness. And you choose to come into human form, and you choose to be here in this life as a human being. You choose to be here because you want to be alive, because you want to have experiences, because you want to learn. And how do you learn? You come to this planet, to this place where there is immense duality, where there are immense plethora of choices. You can make so many choices all day long. What am I doing? What I want to do? What am I eating? What am I drinking? Who am I talking to? Where am I putting my body? Thousands and thousands of choices all day long. Some of them that you just do automatically, some of them that you actually think about, some of them that you feel like you have freedom, some of them that you feel you have no freedom at all, that it is just enforced upon you, so to speak. All of these choices, and you come to this planet, which is just a huge, huge opportunity of diversity. So much diversity. Just look at the diversity, for example, in the plant world. Look at the kingdom of plants, just how many different ways you can be a plant. Look at the kingdom of animals, how many different animals you can be. And of course, don't forget, dear loved ones, that as a human being, you are an animal. And you could have been a tiger, and you could have been a whale, or you could have been a human being, and perhaps you are a human being. So as you look at all this diversity, you have chosen to be here right now at this very moment in time, in this very body, with all of these different circumstances, with the family that you've originated from biologically, with the families that you may have made for yourselves through relationships, with the friends, with the work, with all the things that you love to do. And you have made this world. And as you step into the power of recognizing that you have made all of this world, you have made also not only the good times, the really exquisite times, but you have also made what you would call the very dark times. And those very dark times can really make you question, why is this happening? How could this possibly be happening? When you look at the immense cruelty and the immense, absolutely unbelievable bloodshed and hatred and violence on this planet, you could think, why? How did I even think to come and be a part of this? What would possibly draw me into a world of such opposition, of such violence? And of course, you can see the world and say maybe there's 10% of this brutal violence, and there's 90% of people that are living in peace and harmony. Or you could say that there's 50% of people living in dire circumstances with no food and no water and living in a war zone, and maybe 50% that are living relatively okay. Or you could say there's maybe 10% that are living really well, or maybe you could say there's 1% that are living really well. But no matter which way, no matter where your perspective is, this world definitely does have situations which you would definitely call a dilemma of survival, a dilemma simply of existence. But we assume that those people that are listening to us now and that are working with us, spiritually, are people that are having a fairly normal life in terms of they have food, they have water, they have shelter, they have education, they have more choices. They're above what you might call perhaps a survival existence. But you can still have, of course, tremendous hardship, with being in this world, with doing what you want to do, with dealing with illness, with death, with the cycles of life. But all of these cycles that you see in your own life and that you see out there in the world, perhaps outside of your life, where there is death and destruction, where there is brutality, where there is even the forces of nature creating such destruction, you will ask the question, why have I chosen this place of darkness? And this, of course, is one of the great existential questions of the great religions of the world, of the great spiritual understandings of the world. And many of your masters, even the masters that do not believe in deities, such as the Buddhist masters that are not technically considered a religion because they do not believe in a deity, but they believe in the Buddha, the enlightened one within every being, will say that this is a world of suffering. And it is to this suffering that you come to learn. So how is it, dear loved ones, that you can turn the suffering, the experience of suffering, the experience of darkness into a place of learning? How can you stop being a victim? How can you stop being in the cycle, in the recycle, in the reincarnation of suffering and bring the mind to peace? And of course, this is something that many, many people are doing all of their lifetimes, is to come with this understanding of suffering, to acknowledge that it exists, to acknowledge it is what it is, but still be able to live in a life of happiness and of peace. So this is our suggestion today, is simply to bring the mind into a place of non-judgment, to bring the mind and the heart into a place of non-judgment. Not name calling, not labeling, not categorizing, not saying this is negative, that is positive, this is great, that is not good at all. What happens when you can bring your mind into that one place where there is no judgment at all, where you are in that one place of saying, this is what it is. This is what it is and what it always will be. It is what it is. Where everything is what it is. Where a dog barking is simply that, a dog barking. Where a scorpion bite is simply that, a scorpion biting. Where someone that is suffering is in suffering. And you are not brought into a place of having to judge, of having to say this is right and this is wrong. And this might seem extremely simplistic, dear loved ones, but we invite you to come now into this place of non-judgment and feeling the non-judgment, which is known in a sense as neutrality, to bring yourself into that place of neutrality and non-judgment so that you are able to be in a place where the duality begins to dissolve. The duality begins to dissolve into a place of wholeness and oneness, and where the lessons, where the darkness is ripe with the lessons, and you are able to really spiritually grow in this world. We thank you. We are the master teachers and we are complete. Thank you.
Yeah. I loved it when you said about the dog barking, because you've probably heard me say, but just to say for the YouTubers, I learned to meditate over a police station, a fire station, and in a building where there were opera singers practicing scales, the Ansonia Hotel in the city. So you have to just accept that as just another, and the brain will get trained to just say, oh yeah, there's the dog, there's the siren, it's all part of the music of life. So, but anyway, so you can find me at insightoasis.com. You can find us both at stokethefire.guru and find out how to get the encapsulated essence on Sunday rather than listen to our delightful YouTube presentation. And Susie, just let them know where to find out about you. And I know you'll have upcoming trips, so it's a good site.
Yes, again, so I'm at susiemazzoli-healer.com and energyhealingschoolny.com. And we do have lots of trips coming up, so you can find some of those on my websites. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.